Hey, Bold and the beautiful fans, it's Radhika from Radhika Storyline, and we're going to talk about Bold and the Beautiful. But first, please hit subscribe if you're not already following us. So today on Bold and the Beautiful, drinks at Bikini turned into a thrilling circus that's gonna leave Eric with more than a hangover, and honestly, the whole thing kicked off before anyone even took a sip. So let me walk you through what just happened because there is a lot of ground to cover. The episode opens with everyone at Forrester Creations still sweating Eric's televised blow-up because, look, Eric went on this Logan interview and basically popped off on camera, and now the whole family is in damage control mode. He is still ticked off that the interviewer kept dragging him back to his stint at Logan, which is fair. I mean, who wants to relitigate their own comeback era on live TV? You would think the guy could pitch a dress line without being ambushed about his career arc, but no. The interviewer wanted blood, and Eric gave him a whole fountain, and now here we are. And meanwhile, over in the Spencer camp, because of course there's a Spencer camp, there is always a Spencer camp, Bill is absolutely riding high. He is delighted, genuinely delighted, that Eric came off like he'd never been on camera before in his life, and Bill knows exactly how to twist the story to make it work for him. I love it. It's peak Bill Spencer. The man smells blood in the water, and he's already swimming toward it. It is incredibly on brand for him. The minute Eric slipped up, Bill had a press release ready to print, basically. The man's media empire is getting fed tonight, and he is fully enjoying his meal. Katie, though, Katie is bummed. She's sitting there saying she wishes it hadn't come to this, that she's lost the friendship with the Forrester patriarch, and you can hear it in her voice, like, she actually means it. I don't know, give me a soap where the friendships hurt as much as the romances, and I'm in. That's the good stuff, that's the human stuff, and Katie is leaning into it, which is heartbreaking because she has spent years trying to sit on both sides of this family war. Now Will is on a warpath. Nobody, and I mean nobody, talks about his mother the way Eric did, and Will is not letting it slide. That kid is coiled up like a spring ready to go, and honestly, that's all you need to know about where this is going because when Will Spencer decides somebody insulted his mother, history says somebody's gonna get hurt, and it's not gonna be Will. Which is awful, by the way, but it's the truth. And then at Bikini, Deacon and Taylor are standing there rehashing Eric's on-camera meltdown, in case the audience forgot it 2 minutes ago, which, thanks they didn't. The show recapped the recap for those of us who maybe stepped out for a snack during the previous scene. Classic soap, just classic. After the opening credits, Dylan walks up to Deacon and Taylor and asks how Elektra's line did during the FC livestream. And here's the kicker. Deacon says the jewelry and the drapery gowns, fine, whatever, but the real takeaway was Eric's temper tantrum. So the actual product launch just got body snatched by Eric's bad mood, and that is a disaster of a publicity strategy, honestly. You spend months on a launch, you get Lauren from another show on the line, and then your own CEO goes berserk on camera, and that's the clip that goes viral. Yikes. Over at Forrester Creations, Steffi and Zend are tickled to see Eric so feisty. He still has fight in him, they say, and honestly, I liked that, like, give me an old lion with claws any day of the week. It's more fun than watching him mope around the office being sad about the deposition he did 20 years ago. Eric with bite is better Eric, in my opinion. After a commercial break, Steffi takes a call from the young and the restless Lauren, and yes, that Lauren, the Lauren from Genoa City, and she says her boutiques are taking the whole line and doing a special promotion with Elektra's jewelry. So somebody is winning today, and it ain't Eric, somebody is winning today, and I'm paying attention to that. Excited, the gang decides to head to Bikini for celebratory drinks. But Zen says he has other plans, and everyone is like, who is the lucky lady? And Zen is not talking. So that's a loose end just dangling right there, and I am already trying to guess, but I'm not going to guess out loud yet. We'll get to that in a minute because there's plenty more to chew on. Meanwhile, Will and Deke show up at Bikini while Katie and Bill slip out for an early evening at home because Katie wants nothing to do with this mess and honestly, smart woman. And back at FC, Ridge, Steffi, and technically Zen discover that a Spencer blog is already out there promoting Eric's interview as a meltdown. Bill's media empire is doing exactly what Bill wants it to do, frame Eric as mercurial and out of touch, and the tycoon is over the moon about it. He is eating this up with a spoon. At the bar, Dylan and Will are talking, and Will sums up Eric's interview as basically Eric just insulting his mother for a national audience, which keeps the temperature exactly where Will wants it, on high. Dylan, keep the drinks flowing. Sure, bud. What could possibly go wrong? Famous last words, every single time. Right on cue, in walk Eric, RJ, and Electra. Oh, and also, surprise, Ridge and Steffi didn't actually leave, they came too, so the whole crew is now crammed into bikini like a Friday night house party, and somebody should have checked the capacity at the door before Eric walked through it. And then it happens. Will is staring at Electra. Deke says go talk to her. Deke, are you new here? That is the worst possible idea, not the worst idea I've ever heard of out of the park, and I have watched the show since I was a kid, so I have heard a lot of bad ideas. Will goes up to Electra and says he wants to talk somewhere else, and Eric pushes RJ to step in and break it up. RJ is the muscle, basically, and he moves in, and it's tense, the air in the bar goes thick. Electra peels off to check on Eric, because apparently Eric cannot sit alone without someone worrying about him, which is honestly a metaphor for his whole life, and Deacon tasks Deke with keeping Will and RJ from losing it. Deke, you are not up to this task. You have never been up to this task. Your resume does not include a single successful intervention in human history. Will insists he's leaving with Electra. RJ insists he is not. Push comes to shove. Eric tries to intervene, stepping in like the patriarch he is. And the next thing we know, Will throws a punch, misses RJ entirely, and lights his own grandfather up. Eric is on the floor. That's where we end, folks. Eric is on the floor, at bikini. His own grandson just dropped him, and that's the cliffhanger. That is the cliffhanger, and the music cut in at exactly the right second to make it sting. Now let's talk about what could possibly come next, because honestly, this episode cracked open like 4 or 5 different cans of worms, and I need to pick through them one at a time, because the writers gave us a lot to chew on, and I have opinions. Oh, I have opinions, let me tell you. First up, Eric on the floor. Now, this is the biggest open wound, right? Will just punched an old man who had a televised meltdown 6 hours ago, and that old man is now splayed out on the floor of a beach bar. Now I suspect we are not killing Eric off. This soap does not love its patriarch going to the grave that quick, especially not 6 feet under from a drunken punch at a bikini bar. That would be unhinged even for this show. But I am betting that Eric gets hurt bad enough to put him out of commission for a few episodes, and during that downtime, somebody's going to have to step in and run Forrester Creations, or at least pretend to. He is the creative force behind that place. Even when he's off his rocker, and without him in the room, there's going to be a power vacuum that everybody is going to try to fill. I could see Ridge trying to grab the wheel, because Ridge always tries to grab the wheel, but Ridge has been wishy-washy lately. So my guess is Steffi ends up doing the heavy lifting, which, I mean, she usually does anyway, but here's the thing, and this is where it gets interesting. Will's relationship with his mother is going to come up in every single scene going forward. Katie already said she lost the friendship with the Forrester patriarch, and now Will has literally hurt that patriarch with his own fist. I wonder if this is the moment where Katie has to choose, finally, between her son and her in-laws, because honestly, that triangle has been sitting there begging to be detonated, and I suspect the writers are going to light the fuse this week. Will has been bragging about nobody talking about his mother, but now he's the one who just committed the worst insult of all. He drew blood on Eric. Katie is going to have to decide whether to defend her son or apologize to the family, and either way, somebody is getting crushed, somebody's getting publicly humiliated, and I don't think it's going to be Will, because Will is going to feel righteous about it for at least 3 more episodes. Next, Bill's media spin. Now, Bill is loving this. I mean, genuinely, the man is gloating, and if you've watched the show for any length of time, you know that gloating Bill Spencer is a Bill Spencer who is about to trip over his own cape and land in a hole he dug for himself. I suspect this is going to be the worst kind of victory, the kind where it bites you back in 3 episodes, the kind of victory that ages like milk instead of wine. I mean, Spencer Publications already branded Eric's interview as a meltdown, but I could see Bill overplaying his hand. He's going to want more. He's going to want Eric gone for real, not just embarrassed, and the more he pushes, the more ridiculous he looks, because at some point the audience starts to see Bill, not Eric, as the villain on camera, and Bill doesn't know when to stop. He never knows when to stop. It's not a stretch to imagine him orchestrating some kind of follow-up interview or a press stunt that maybe, just maybe, lets Eric or Steffi, somebody smart, flip the narrative back. I'm betting Bill underestimates how fast Eric's people, specifically Steffi, can pivot, and I wonder if Lauren's piece of the puzzle is bigger than we think. Look, Lauren's taking the whole line, doing a promotion with Electra's jewelry, and Lauren is from Genoa City, and Genoa City is not a forgiving town when it comes to business. Those people run real institutions. That's real business, real receipts, real revenue coming in, and Bill's blog can call Eric a meltdown all day long, but if the orders are coming in and the boutiques are buying, the market is going to do the talking, and Bill cannot spin that. Trade press does not care about blogs. Trade press cares about sales. So Bill is going to wake up one morning this week and realize he has won the news cycle and lost the actual quarter, and that is a diabolical kind of loss, the kind that sneaks up on you between coffee and lunch. Another thing I want to throw out there, Zen's mystery date. Now, everybody at FC wanted to know who the lucky lady was, and Zen played it totally close to the vest. He just smiled, took his coat, and walked out, and the camera lingered on him like the writers wanted us to remember this, like the camera itself was shouting, pay attention, this matters. And my guess is this is going to come out, and when it does, somebody is going to be unhappy. I wonder if it's somebody from the Spencer camp, given where most of the drama lives these days, or maybe it's someone we haven't seen in a minute. Somebody from Zen's past, somebody who brings history with her. I could see this being a catalyst for Steffi and Zen to fight, because Steffi's going to have opinions about who her cousin dates. Oh, she always does. She is the family opinion machine, the cousin relationship referee, especially now with a fresh will incident to weigh in on. So adding a Zen dating drama on top of it is exactly the kind of chaos this show eats for breakfast. Or maybe it's a red herring and Zen just didn't want to go to bikini, which, also understandable, honestly, given how the night ended. But the way it was set up, the way the camera lingered on it, the way nobody let it drop, I suspect this isn't a throwaway. I suspect this comes back around, probably with a name attached, and probably at the worst possible time for Zen, probably right when he's made some big power play at FC, because that is how this show loves to gut punch its men. And last but not least, I want to talk about Will and RJ and Electra, because that triangle is now a live grenade with a pin pulled. Will threw a punch and missed RJ entirely, which is a humiliation on top of the humiliation. Imagine swinging on a guy and hitting his grandfather by accident. You can never take that back. It is forever. And I suspect RJ is going to come out of this looking like he can take it and keep moving, calm and dignified, while Will is going to come out of this looking unhinged. Will was supposed to be the aggrieved party, the one defending his mother's honor, and now he's the guy who planted Eric on the floor. Optics are brutal. Electra is standing right in the middle of all of it, and I suspect she's going to have to make a choice, and soon. My guess is she picks whoever respects her work more, and right now, RJ is on the right side of that argument, because he didn't throw a punch in a bar. Now I could see the writers slow-playing this, dragging it out for weeks, which they love to do, so don't expect a verdict by Friday. But the signal is there. Will is on a road that ends either in a breakup or a betrayal, and I don't think Electra is going to be the one swallowing her pride to save it. She is a designer in her own right now. She just got a Lauren-sized endorsement, she has leverage, and she is not going to use it to be patient with a guy who can't hold his liquor or his fists. Will is one bad night away from being fully unglued, and when that happens, the question is not whether Electra leaves, it's whether she leaves before he embarrasses her again. And then there's Deacon and Deke, who got tasked with babysitting two drunk guys in a bikini bar, and they failed spectacularly, which, honestly, is on brand for both of them. They have a long history of underdelivering on the parental promise. I wonder if Deacon is going to catch heat for not breaking that up himself, because he's supposed to be the dad here, he's supposed to be the responsible adult, and instead, he pointed Deke at the problem and walked away to check on Eric. Deke is not the muscle, Deke is the sidekick, and Deacon knows that, but he let it happen anyway. That could land on Deacon, or it could slide because the focus is going to be on Will and the punch, and Deacon is going to be very, very grateful for that focus. Honestly, my guess is the focus stays on the punch for now, and Deke get a pass, but I am watching for that shoe to drop later. You would think by now, after everything Deacon has been through, that he would know better than to outsource the bouncer job to a guy who can't pour a drink without a callback, but here we are, and Deke is probably already making a joke about it, which is exactly the problem. Now before I go, I also want to give a quick shout out to the secondary storyline sliding in the background, because it might be huge and nobody's zoomed in on it yet. Lauren from Young and the Restless popped in on a phone call, and she is taking the whole Electra line plus doing a jewelry promotion, and that, to me, is the actual headline of this episode that we are all scrolling past. So let me put on my theory hat for 1 second. I suspect Lauren's involvement is bigger than a one-call buy. It's not a stretch to imagine her pulling Forrester Creations into a Genoa City partnership that has crossover implications, and I'm betting that's how they set up the next crossover event, because this show loves a crossover tease. It lives for them. The producers practically twinkle when they get to do one. The Forrester-Spencer war might be the loud drama, but the business alliance with Genoa City might be the thing that decides who actually wins this season. Bill cannot beat a Madison-style alliance with real revenue. And honestly, my guess is that's where the writers are headed behind all the punching and the yelling, a quiet Genoa City pivot that locks up the Forbes line for a year and leaves Bill sputtering. Watch this space, because if I'm right, Eric on the floor is the smoke and Lauren's phone call is the fire. So here's my verdict, and I'm not hedging on this one. Will's punch cracked the Forrester-Spencer Cold War open like a walnut, and the next 2 weeks of this show are going to be the most fun this thing has been in a whole season. Eric is on the floor, Bill is in his tower, Deacon is washing dishes, and somebody's about to learn a hard lesson about family they were not prepared to learn tonight. We'll see. Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Radhika Storyline is on all the major podcast platforms including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.